All right, well, with that first half review of the NFL season out of the way, it only makes sense to move on to the Week 9 preview. The Sunday NFL action is a good slate, starting with Chicago versus Tennessee, Seattle versus Buffalo, and Baltimore and Indianapolis at 1 p.m. The afternoon game sees two fun young teams in Miami and Arizona, and then two old heads in New Orleans and Tampa Bay get it going on Sunday night. So what stands out to you, Jay?
Yeah, this is first of all, I just want to say this is a pretty solid slate. I think there's been a couple weeks where it's about maybe 2 to 3 games that you're really interested in. This one has a few more. Seattle Buffalo. I mean, you got 2 division leaders, interconference, going at it. Keep in mind, I think we all were pretty sure about Seattle. I think it's pretty easy to imagine them being in the NFC Championship game at minimum. Buffalo's starting to show some cracks though. The whole Josh Allen MVP thing, I've noticed that. I ain't heard much about that recently. I haven't heard much about it.
I'm so glad that's over.
Yeah, so, I mean, but we'll see. This is a big test. I would say if Buffalo can show you something here, that would be important because we know how real Seattle is. Buffalo can hold their home field. It's a statement game for them. But if they come out there and fold like cheap lawn chair, then I think those questions are gonna remain. So we'll see how that one plays out. Then I'm looking at Baltimore, Indianapolis. I think that some may look at this game and may be surprised. This is a pick'em game. That's what the spread says. And Baltimore, if you look at them, they've been a touch of a disappointment so far. They're 5-2. But they just lost to Pittsburgh. It was a very difficult day for Lamar Jackson. And then, against Kansas City, it was not a pretty performance. And those are those look like the class of the AFC thus far. So in Indianapolis is a team that I believe is the class of the AFC South. I still believe that. Tennessee's going to drop back. They're going to continue to drop back themselves. But this is going to be an interesting one. Indianapolis, that's a physical football team. And Phillip Rivers, for all the jokes that we tell about him, mostly from Drink's side. But I think he's been serviceable so far. And you look at how that team is built stylistically. I think it's going to be. I think both teams, I think they like to, control the line of scrimmage, run the football. So it's kind of going to be strength on strength for me. It's going to be fun to see who comes out on top in that one. Definitely one to watch for me. Go on down the line. That afternoon game with Arizona and Miami. We talked about them in the last segment, 2 of our surprising teams. And that's going to be very compelling. I think when we looked at Tua in his first game, it wasn't all that great. Not especially from a statistical standpoint. He had a lot of help. Remember Miami, they got a return touchdown. They got a fumble return touchdown as well. So they definitely played in all 3 phases of the game. But don't forget, Aaron Donald was very impactful in that game. And he bothered Tua a lot, as did some of those other pass rushers the Rams have. So definitely an opportunity for Tua to move forward. And we definitely like to see some improvement from him, and I expect we will. But then on the other hand, Kyler Murray. I think a Kyler Murray Tua matchup. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that in terms of the young quarterbacks, the first and second year guys. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then definitely the night game. You talk about it. This is the second round between Brees and Brady this year. We remember how week 1 was. I don't think the result was all that surprising, considering we thought, Tom Brady, week 1, no preseason, you're working in with a new group of guys. It didn't go particularly well, but if you actually take a look at that game and you look at it from a statistical standpoint, the Saints really weren't all that good offensively themselves. But now what you have is you have Drew Brees. And although I have questions about the arm strength, I think Drink does as well. But he's been solid. He's been efficient. They're working this short game. Alvin Kamara is playing at a very high level. You get Michael Thomas back. So we'll see how that goes. And, of course, Tampa Bay, they're welcoming in another weapon. I'm not going to really get into that. But they will have another weapon. Yeah, that's why I'm not going to do it. I'm going to save that for you. Brought him up earlier to your credit, so I'm not going to steal that from you. But I just will say they're adding another weapon. He's well known. You'll recognize him. You know who he is already. But that one's definitely going to be a lot of fun. And last point, I would be remiss if I did not bring up America's team and just the beatdown that is going to occur at Jerry World with I don't think they declare who the starting quarterback going to be. But I tell you who it's not going to be. It's not going to be Dak. It's not going to be Andy Dalton. It's not even going to be Ben DiNucci. Oh, yeah, Ben DiNucci. It's going to be him. It's going to be flip a coin for Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert. Oh, I can't imagine. You know what? And I know we got the COVID and all the restrictions. I don't know what what Jerry's doing down there with the fans and how many people they letting in the stadium. They should pay people to come and watch that game. They should pay people because there's no way you can sell me on paying any amount of money to watch Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert or that defense, which is an absolute abomination.
You're not paying to come watch Cooper Rush. You're paying to come and watch America's team.
America deserves better.
Yeah, so I agree with that. As Americans, we do deserve better. So with that said, listen, Jay rolled out that lineup pretty good. I'm not gonna get in that deep. I got two games written down. The first of which is the game that he mentioned, Sunday night football. Sorry about that. Very disrespectful. Get those days twisted up. New Orleans Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, that's right. I said Tampa. Here's the deal. As Jay said, the thing for me with this game is not just the game. For a game to reach a certain magnitude, it has to bring other things into it. You think about this. It's 32 teams in the NFL. Majority of those teams play on Sunday. Majority of those teams we don't say one word about because we don't care because that game did not bring enough intangibles on the outside to make us talk about it, right? So when I think about this second game with the Saints and Tampa, I think, okay, let's talk about some of the things that surrounding these games. Both of these teams seem to be playoff teams. Both of these teams are winning. Both of these teams have two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Okay, what you talking about, Drink? We knew this already. But here's the part that I really like. Both of these teams are going to be bringing back top level wide receiver talent. We know New Orleans is going to bring back Michael Thomas, et cetera, et cetera. Don't let that get too far ahead of you. You know what his talent is about. One of the top 5 wide receivers playing the game right now. Then we got Tampa Bay bringing in Antonio Brown. Before he started acting the fool and drinking or eating whatever he was eating and drinking, this dude was considered the top wide receiver in the game before he started what he was doing. Now he's going to come back. I'm hearing that he's better than ever. You know how that goes. You know, everybody's been walking on water until you actually see them walk on water. You know what I mean? So I've been hearing about this camp. He's been doing these amazing things. So now you have two polarizing wide receivers for whatever reasons getting added into this game that already got a lot of star-studded ability to it. When you're talking about the Saints, we're talking about Alvin Kamara. You heard what Jay said. This guy's been pretty much the lightning pin for the Saints this year. I heard his name in the MVP conversation as well. So take that for what it's worth. And then you have the likes of Godwin and Evans and Grunt going on for Tampa Bay. So this game is going to have a lot going on. The only thing is missing is the fans. Rest in peace out to the COVID. This is what we're missing. We're missing the fans. If we had the fans here, this game would be like something incredible. Not to say it won't be incredible because the fans are not there, but you know just like I know, the fans make the game just as well as the players make it. So that's the first game I want to talk about. The second game I want to talk about is one of the Baltimore Ravens and the Colts. I heard Jay hit on this earlier, and here's the deal. You know how I feel about Phillip Rivers. I think Phillip Rivers out here throwing the football like it's a kettlebell at the gym. You know, I hope this is the last season we see him out here just flustering around. He gonna hang it up and go coach his team. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to everything you got going on, Phillip Rivers. Number love for you. But with that said, the Colts got a very good and unique defense. And why do I bring that up? Because from what I've seen with Lamar Jackson this year, I think the Colts got a little recipe to make the Ravens have to play from behind. And I love it when I had to see Lamar Jackson play from behind because he be out here flopping like a young fish that need that water. He be all over the place. He don't know to throw it, run it, pass it, punt it. You just let me do something. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting to see the game where Lamar Jackson, when he's behind and he has to make those decisions, I'm waiting to see that game where he actually makes the decisions, actually complete the decisions. And I feel like the Colts is a team that can make him think, but they're not so overly talented where he can't overcome the obstacles that they're going to throw at him. So this is like different from playing, the Steelers. Like once they got you, they got you. Like I'm sorry, Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Good game still, but you could just tell they was under his skin in that game. Kansas City, he's trying to go point for point with Kansas City. No, that's not going to work, player. We're going to holler at you next time. No, that's not going to work. So now he got a coach team that they got a stiff enough defense to test that Baltimore offense, but not, a powerful enough offense where you got to go tit for tat every throw, every pass, every run. So I'm very interested in seeing that. This is a very, very winnable game for the Colts as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're like automatically going to lose or nothing, but that's why this game is intriguing because I feel like if Lamar Jackson does struggle in this game, this is going to be a telltale sign on him in the future. Because I think these are the games where like, yo, your team is a lot better, bro. Like, what we doing here? But you struggle because they had a good defense. Not because they had a good offense, because they had a good defense. Oh, okay, cool. So I look at that matchup. I put a pin in it. So those are my two games that I'm looking forward to. Oh, sorry. Boop, bag it up. Beep, beep, beep. Sorry, I glossed over my Seattle and Buffalo. You know I got to slide in some Buffalo just like sauce. Yeah. I don't know what we was thinking when we had Josh Allen in the MVP conversation.
Was that us though? I don't know if that was us.
It wasn't drink of wisdom. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't a drink of wisdom. Like we, you know what I'm saying? We hold ourselves to a high standard. But I say we as an opening, general public, I guess. That ain't it, voters. I don't know who came up with that, but that wasn't it. Listen, when it comes to this show, nobody throws up the pom-poms for Josh Allen like I do. But it's no way in hell I would say he was in the MVP conversation. That's outrageous. It's just no way. If anything, let's give the award to the offensive line, not to Josh Allen. But with all that said, listen, here's the deal. These are two teams that I like a lot that's going to play. That's why I'm going to be phoned in on this one. Seattle is my NFC pick to go to the Super Bowl. And Buffalo, I just picked them to win the division. I don't really see a whole lot coming out after that. I did pick them to win the division. Listen, I can't even pick them to win a game in the playoffs because, Josh Allen, you know what he do. He out here playing backgammon instead of football. I don't know what we're doing here. So I take it with a grain of salt. So, Russell Wilson, I think he should be the MVP this year, barring anything crazy coming out the side of, whatever, out of nowhere. So that Seattle and Buffalo game, Buffalo plays defense, Seattle don't. But Seattle plays offense. Buffalo don't. Well, they kind of play offense just enough to be an NFL team, I guess, but nothing too spectacular. We ain't really putting no butts in seats. So I'm interested in seeing that Seattle and Buffalo game as well. Those are my three games.
Man, Stephon Diggs out there doing the offense, and he just don't get no love from Drink. It's so disappointing. I haven't actually got to see the Bills this year yet. I'm kind of want to get in on that at some point. I got a couple of quick thoughts. I think Chicago and Tennessee is interesting is how similar these teams kind of feel coming in. Both of them have just lost 2 in a row. Both of them kind of at a point. I think especially the Titans lost a game. They're surprised they lost. The Bears, they lost to the Rams and the Saints. That's not been too crazy. But the Tennessee Titans they lost a heartbreaker to the Steelers, and then they got smacked around by the Bengals in kind of a hangover game. And that ship is kind of listing for the Titans a little bit after 5 straight wins, and it's not really because of Derrick Henry. You would think, oh, well, if Derrick Henry's not playing well, but he was averaging like 6.5 yards a rush last week. I mean, he's been great. He's leading the league in rushing yards. I mean, that's working fine. But that defense, especially in the front seven, is really not doing very well. They've made some traded a couple linebackers. They've got you look at the roster and you would think, well, this front seven is really good, but they've got a couple guys not performing up the task. Jadeveon Clowney has just not really done a whole lot for them, and it's that's starting to show. I think people, once they've realized you can still contain Ryan Tannehill a little bit, you kind of let Derrick Henry do his thing, and you can move the ball on them. The Titans aren't going to win a lot of playoff games with the defense playing like it is. They're going to have to bring it up a little bit because as good as Tannehill's been, and Henry legitimately is, a lot of respect for him. They're not going to go out there and put up 40 something, and they're not going to go out there and throw out 5-6 touchdowns. I mean, this team still has to be somewhat balanced when you're playing that run the ball and throw when you have to type play. It's not sustainable if this defense can't get it figured out. So, can they kind of start getting that turned around with a game against Chicago where you're not playing the greatest offense on turf and you can kind of get some things figured out? Because if you don't, you got Ravens, Colts coming up, and then you got a couple more decent games like the Packers in the season. The Titans are going to go to the playoffs, obviously, but this is a game where you need to go ahead and start, getting the ship put back on its right up. Buffalo, big test for them, like, Drink, you were talking about, but I think really for Buffalo, it's, you've been tested twice against two really good teams, and the Titans and the Chiefs, and you failed both tests. Other than that, I mean, you beat up on some all right teams. You beat up the Jets twice. You beat up the Patriots on Sunday. So can you go ahead and start putting it together against a true legit contender? And for the Seahawks, I just want to see that defense back with Jamal Adams. I mean, the difference that Jamal Adams makes in that defense, I've preached about it before on the show, but my God, it is just night and day. I mean, without Jamal Adams, that defense can't stop anything. And with him, they're probably good enough. So I don't think it's a big game for Seattle, but it is a huge game for the Buffalo Bills. You lose that, your confidence is really shot. Speaking of confidence, obviously Lamar Jackson's got to get the confidence back against Indianapolis. Again, another team, 2 tests, you fail both of them. Where do you go from here? And that's a good game to kind of get everything back on track and go, all right, we're still in this. Don't worry about it. Shake it off. We'll get them next time. And the rest of the slate, you guys pretty much nailed it. Nothing really crazy to go over. I do like the young quarterback stuff, and I want to see Tua actually have to play versus getting to just hand the ball off and hang out because his team's up by 30 because they returned all the punts and stuff. I want to see that. And, hey, Monday night, Big Brain Bill, it starts. They throw it to the Jets, and they go get Trevor Lawrence because they got another game against the Jets. You heard it here first, folks. Little insider info for you. Probably not, but
I have to get in on that. I don't know if Bill can. I don't know if Gase is capable of taking that game, even if Bill hands it to him. I think Gase still will drop it to me.
Yo, I'm with Jay. I'm with Jay on that. I am with him. Gase has that dude. He was born with no hands. Like, he couldn't catch it. Listen, I'm with Jay. Like, he can. Nah.
I'm just saying. You heard it here first. We'll see.